is Gene Rayholm. I'm from Ottawa, and the purpose of tonight's program is a benefit for the Federation of Medi-Settlements. Lil or a bartender or something, I'd never forget if you could turn that goddamn music off. I mean, yeah. And we have a long evening ahead of us. It's going to be a fun evening for everyone except Harry. A lot of people think the Native people of Canada are stupid, and I don't know why, because, well, tonight's good evidence, eh? Imagine about 150 of us paid $25 a plate to have roast dog. And as your MC, I'm going to try to move it along and do a variety of things. It is the benefit for the Medi-Settlements, and we do have our president of the Medi-Settlements of Alberta, Maurice Larondel, who welcomed you here this evening, and we're pleased and proud to have him, and we hope that the results of tonight, and this is the only time I'm going to be serious, so make notes, we hope that the fundraising events, Maurice, of some help to you and the other Medi-Settlements that are doing some work that we're all very proud of as Native people. I thought I should define a few terms so that those who are going to speak would understand what the rules are. Everybody knows I think everyone knows what a Métis is, or a Métis, or whatever you say. It's when we have a lot of money, we eat at the Londonderry, and when we're flat on our ass, we eat at the bus depot. There are some people who I had hoped would be at the head table tonight who aren't here. One of them is Harold Cardinal, and I'm sorry he couldn't be here. There's a story told about the half-breed who died and was asked, somebody found himself from St. Peter, and St. Peter said, you're welcome to heaven, and half-breed said, no, listen, Pete, I had an awful lot of problems on earth, like, everybody screwed me, I didn't have any land, I was always looked down on, and no matter what I did, I couldn't get my Aboriginal rights, and I didn't have any decent leadership, and on and on. And he said, before I come into this heaven place, I'd like to have a look around. So could I size it up? So St. Peter said, well, it's the first time we've ever had a guy ask us, but sure, why not? And he said, come on in, and on a temporary pass, and or as Joe Bryan would recognize, a day pass, and he said, now he saw the whole bunch of people. There were just hundreds of thousands all jammed on a little wee chunk of land in an island. He said, and the half-breed said, well, who are those? He said, well, those are, if you look at them, they're all whites. He said, on earth, they own all the land. They stole it from everybody, and so on. So in heaven, in order to balance the act, now we jammed all those bastards on one little chunk of ground. He said, but they're happy. They're happy because they're doing it to each other. And then he went a little further, and there was a whole bunch of very dark-skinned people. And he said, well, who are those? And they were all sitting under the trees, and they were eating steaks, and they had champagne and everything. He said, well, those are the Negro people of North America. He said, in life, on planet Earth, they ate pig's knuckles, collard greens, tripe, all the stuff that nobody else wanted to eat. And he said, so their reward is to have steaks and stuff and all the rest of it. And he said, now let me show you a little bit more of this half-breed. And they were walking by, and there was a long low wall, and about that high, and behind it he could hear quiet chuckling. And But St. Peter was just walking right by it, and he said, what, I hear quiet chuckling. I mean, what's that in there? And he said, shh. He said, it's Harold Cardinal and the Alberta Indian Brotherhood. They think they're the only ones in heaven. Anyway, I told you there's some rules about tonight, about no swearing and no profanity, and we're going to take some shots at people, but it's all going to be in fun, and so on. I'm really sorry that one of the head table guests, Stan Daniels, isn't here. He's the president of the Metis Association of Alberta. I phoned Stan yesterday and said, Stan, as you know, I'm going to MC this thing, and I'd really like you to be present. And he said, Gene, I can't. He said, there's no way I'm ever going to be present at or a part of a public gathering that would ever stab Harry Daniels in the front. Well, the reason Stan Daniels isn't here, quite seriously, is because he's at the opening of an educational project in Lethbridge, Alberta, and for Native kids, and it's one of the things a provincial leader has to do. So I'm going to balance the act in that way, I hope. Seriously, there's someone else who can't be here. Is the Minister of Culture, Horst Schmidt, the Honourable Horst Schmidt. He has sent his representative instead. He wanted to be here for the Harry Daniels roast. His name is Ray Batra. Ray, where are you? And I've lost you in the... Thank you very much for being here. Well, we have a hell of a guest list, and we're going to... The rules are no swearing and no lies. And as a result, I'd like you to make some alterations to your program. Larry DeMille, Zella Harris, Everett Soup, and Albert Angus will not be allowed to speak. It's not my job as the MC, of course, to take away from those who are going to roast. But I should tell you a few things about Harry Daniels, because he has made history over and above what's in that program. He was born in Regina Beach, Saskatchewan. Some of you may not know where that is.
Go Regina Beach.
And maybe I can help you. If on a map of Canada, you drew a straight line with a ruler from Calgary, Alberta, to Winnipeg, Manitoba, that line would pass through Saskatchewan. Even when he was first born, he made history, because it's one of the few times that we have records of that when he was born and the doctors looked at what was in their hands, right after they cut the cord, it's the first time they slapped the mother. I'm not going to tell you a lot more about him than that, because that pretty much sums up his accomplishments. But I am going to ask, let me see who I am going to ask. I'm going to ask Jim Tompkins to come forward and talk about our guest of honor tonight, Harry Daniels. Jimmy Tompkins, please.
Where did we get the tall half-breed? Well, I must say I'm very honored to be here tonight to roast my good friend. Good friend Harry. I just heard about it through our rapid moccasin telegraph system in Fort McMurray just the other day, and I really tried to get on, and thanks to Tantu, I was fortunate enough to be here tonight. Of course, she says, do you have 25 bucks? Maybe that was my fortune. When I come in here, I was kind of anxious to meet Harry. Harry and I have been pretty good friends since about, well, I think the first time I didn't vote for him was about 1970. But I was quite concerned. I wanted to meet Harry tonight to see if he was in here. And I asked someone at the door, I said, is Harry in? And he said, oh yeah, he's over there with the three Stooges. And I said, Three Stooges? And I seen Harry Daniels, Larry DeMells, and Joe Bryan. And this lady says, yeah, Harry, Larry, and Joe. Well, I was pleased to meet him. When we come up here, I heard Adrian saying the grace, and he was asking forgiveness for the transgressions that forgiveness for our transgressions. And I heard Harry say under his belt, my God, you mean to tell me I'm guilty of that too? I know he's been guilty of a lot of things. One of the things, I guess, is his stomach. I've known Harry, like I said, since the second time I didn't vote for him in '71. And when we passed by the food lineup, and it's a very impressive food lineup, and I think the hotel staff deserve a great hand for it. But anyway, we were about halfway, and Harry is about 3 people behind me, and he says, what? No rabbit? I guess he's a true meaty. I heard that Harry had been in the Navy. And I also found out how he got into the Navy. First of all, he tried to get into the Air Force, and he couldn't make it. Then he tried to join the Army, and he couldn't pass his IQ test, so he's accepted in the Navy. One of the stories, it's a cute story, I think I should tell here about the Navy. You know how the Navy have 2 buttons down the side of their trousers? I guess one time Harry met this nice little foxy girl on shore leave in Montreal someplace. And he was going out with this girl, and he thought he'd like to make time with this little honey. So the little girl said to him, hey, why do you sailors have 2 buttons down the side of your pants, you know? And Harry said, well, don't tell anybody. He said, but we got two things. 2 things, she said. Yeah, she says, 1 for each side of the buttons. And she said, well, can I see them both? And Harry said, well, you know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. So they went to bed and scratched each other's back. But Harry only undone the one side, you see. And she had a look at this thing. And then when he was finished, he done all the buttons up. Then she said, now let me see the other side. And Harry undone the other side and pulled his things out. And he said, oh, look, he's pouting because he wasn't first. I guess Harry got his start in native politics in Saskatchewan. I know he was involved with the Saskatchewan Federation of Non-Status Indians. Metis and Non-Status Indians, I guess, is the proper title. Metric and non-static, okay. And that reminds me, I work for Syncrude, and just recently, just a couple of weeks ago, I used to be a recruiter. But anyway, we recruit for treaty Indians, and we call them status, and we recruit for the Métis and non-status Indians. And in Syncrude, we have adopted a policy. We don't have a union, and this policy is called a team concept policy, where you have a team membership, and, it's supposed to work just as good as a union. Whether it does or not, I don't know. It probably will if we give it a shot. However, we continuously have team meetings, and they call these interface meetings, because you interface with the guy in the lower rung of the ladder right to the guy up in the high part. And one of these interface meetings, they were required to have this native guy attend. For some reason or another, he was tied up at the local hotel, having a few sips of wine, I guess, or whatever. And he didn't make this interface meeting. So he got terminated because he had a record of late arrivals and no shows at all. So then he come and seen us at the native programs, and boy was he mad. And he was telling us that he missed a two-faced meeting and he got determinated because he's a static Indian. But anyway, getting back to Harry, I guess his first time in politics, I heard a story about him when he was in at a little place called Batoche for their annual assembly. And I guess Harry was running for a position or something, and there was some guy trying to make bad stories against Harry and making pretty bad allegations against him. And Harry heard this. Naturally, he went up to the mic and he says, "I've heard somebody making some pretty stiff allegations about me, so just wait till I get a hold of that elevator." And it was actually Harry who said that. Someone said someone else said it, but I think it was Harry. One other important story I'm going to tell you about Harry, and this is a true story, and it's about a little bit of his sex life. Now, being a true Métis, I guess he was involved in this from time to time. Yeah, you might say that. You're right about that, right. Anyway, he was on a party one night in Anzac. If one of you don't know where Anzac is, it's a little community about 25 miles southeast of Fort McMurray. And anyway, they had a party, and in the morning, Harry gets up, and there's this young lady there cooking breakfast, and Harry's hungry. And God, he starts to eat eggs. And the lady said, "You want some more?" "Yeah, 2 more. And he ate these up. "You want some more?" "Yeah, 2 more. Pretty soon he ate a dozen eggs. And my God, after a dozen eggs, I guess the lady figured, geez, eggs are supposed to do something for your system and really make you go. Maybe Harry's ready to go now. Anyway, about that time, there's a carload of people going down to Fort McMurray for another load of hooch. So Harry, now being the kind Métis that he is, thought that he should bring this nice young lady a gift of some sort for her kindness for feeding him. Now, instead of bringing her back a dozen eggs, like maybe he should have, he brought her back a jug of wine. And he walks in and he's half stoned and he says, "Look what I brought for you, sweetie," and he waves the jug of wine. And he said, "Oh, you stay away from me. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me drunk and then you're going to buck me." You remember who that was? You remember who that was? She told me the story there just the other day. I'm really happy that this occurred tonight. It's the first time that a roast has been given for a native person in Canada, and I think the Métis Federation should really be congratulated for the effort that they put out. The proceeds, I understand, are going towards the making of a film. And just recently, maybe some of you people have seen the history of the Métis people of Canada, a book published by the Métis Federation. I'm proud to say that Syncrude financed this publication of the book. Now, if you read in your what do they call these things? Program. It says Jim Tompkins is the godfather. Well, actually, I was never involved in Harry's criminal deeds. So, I'm not that kind of a godfather. The kind of a godfather I am is I'm the godfather to his little boy, Gabriel Louis. It was in 1956 when Harry approached me and asked me if I would be the godfather. 1976?
20 years before you do that.
I'm sorry, 1976. Well, that was his first son in '56. But anyway, he approached me and asked me if I wanted to be the godfather of Gabriel Louis. And he named him after two very famous people, Gabriel Dumont and Louis Riel. And these are the people that we have got our heritage from. And I hope someday that maybe I could be able to stand here and toast Gabriel Louis. I want to thank you all, and Harry, let me tell you, it has been a pleasure for me to be here tonight. Thank you.
She put forward to most Canadians very thoughtful and honest and candid picture of what it means to be a Métis person in this country. She's got a couple of more books in the mill. One of them will be published this fall in September or October. One of the ways I like to think we all support Native people, and Maria in particular, is by buying the books and insisting that our stores stock them. The title will be Riel's People. It will be published in September or October, and I would hope that we will see to it that we read what Maria says. She also has a children's book in the mill, and it's coming out, and it's a children's story based on a family in the Lac La Biche area. But tonight, of course, she's not here to flog these books or even to let me mention the fact that you should all buy them. She's not like that. She does have a new book that's really new, and its main title is The Various Daniels That I Have Known. And the subtitle is, If God had wanted Harry to really be a national leader, he would never have invented Stan. Maria Campbell, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, I don't usually go out and speak because I get very nervous when I'm speaking. But when Tantu phoned me and asked me if I'd come in and tell you all the bad, wicked stories I know about Harry, I had to come. Harry is one of my oldest and dearest friends. He's a brother I love very much, and I can't think of anybody better or more that I'd love to tell a story about. I have several of them, and I'm glad I was the first one called up after Jim, because I was scared everybody would steal my stories. We've all been running around all week telling these stories to each other and wondering if we were going to be the first ones called. I have to tell you about my first meeting with Harry. See, I had a president that I supported and worked very hard for, and that was Stan Daniels. And shortly after I got fired, I decided that I would come down and visit him. So I came into the office about noon, and there was nobody in this room but this man with this long frizzy hair, and he was sort of draped over this chair, and he had this beaded jacket on with fringes down to here, and I thought, holy God, what is this? So I went into Stan's office, and nobody was there, and I looked around, and this man, meantime, all the ladies that are here knows how Harry can look you up and down when he's looking at you. And he's looking at my feet and up and down, and he said, "What are you looking for?" And I said, "Stan Daniels." And he said, "My name is Daniels." I said, "Is that right? You related to Stan?" He said, "No." He said, "I'm from Saskatchewan." So my ears pricked up because I'm from Saskatchewan. And I said, "Oh, what's your name?" And he said, "Harry." "You related to Stan?" "No." At this time, Harry had just come from Saskatchewan. He'd finished playing Louis Riel in a play. And he's sitting there like this, and he said, "Well, my name is Harry. I'm not related to Stan, but," he said, "everybody says I'm the reincarnation of Louis Riel." And I said, "Yeah? You dragging this cross around too?" Harry never hustled me after that. We became really good friends. Another story about Harry. I have several of them. This other one I really like. I had a girlfriend who was really beautiful, and Harry really took a shine to her. But Harry had a friend that I liked too, and I thought, well, Harry came to me one day. This was at a conference, and he said, I really like her. Can you set something up for me? And I said, sure, if you make it a foursome and bring this friend of yours. So he bought his friend, and Harry was all decked up in his sash and his rings and the whole thing. And he went out and bought 2 bottles of wine. There was one real expensive bottle of wine, and then just a cheap brand. Anyway, my girlfriend took one look at his friend, and that was the end of Harry, and it was the end of me. She took off with him. So Harry was very uptight with me. He pulled out this cheap bottle of wine because he had to drink with me. There wasn't nobody else around. And I'm quite a vain lady. I didn't want to drink this cheap bottle of wine. So I insisted he bring out the good bottle, and we got drunk on the expensive bottle and finished off the cheap wine. 4:00 in the morning, he's crying and I'm crying. We went to the conference. I didn't vote for Harry that year either. One more story. And I don't know if this one is true or not, because Harry told us this story. My husband is here tonight, and Harry came and told us this story one morning. He said that his friend Fred Jobin had taken Henry Hoole's car. You all know Henry Hoole. Well, he said Fred stole Henry Hoole's car. He was just coming off a good night of hooch, and it was his girlfriend that Jobin took off with. Went up on the hill. And I don't know what happened, but there's this big high hill. No, it wasn't Harry. Anyway, the guy kicked the steering, the automatic transmission loose or something. They knocked out a toilet going down the hill. Everybody said the story was Harry, but it wasn't Harry. That's an honest-to-God truth, because he was with Shannon and I that night. I really don't want to tell any more bad stories. I'd like to say something good about him, because Harry is one of my very favorite people. There's been a lot of men in my life that I've loved very much. Some of them are gone now, and some of them are still with us. And some of them I have a lot of angry feelings toward that I try to maintain, but I've lost over the years. But Harry, I could never really be angry with him, because first of all, he's from Saskatchewan, and that's kind of a special place for me, because I always feel like good revolutionaries come from Saskatchewan. The other thing is, I always liked the way he wore his sash, and I love the way he jigs. And I can't think of a better leader for us in 1978, 77. And somebody who wears a mean sash and dances a great Red River jig. I love you, Harry.
I mean, is that heavy or what? Geez, I love you too, Harry, but if you get a kiss, you're crazy. Last one that got a kiss from you had terminal pellagra. We've had some telegrams come in from all those people who were pressing at the doors trying to get in and couldn't fill the empty seats. And Harry, it has nothing to do with you. They bought tickets, but that's because they're tax deductible. Lloyd, did you get the telegrams? Could you read those? I'm going to call on Lloyd Sutton, not as a speaker, but just to read the telegrams. Who did that, Lloyd?
Thank you for coming. Thank you, sir. I'm going to yank this down just a wee bit here.
Short matey.
Hey.
Imagine what we're going to have to do forever.
I know you girls are going to be happy just looking at me, so I'll stand here for a second.
That's enough.
I know. He said, Lloyd, please, briefly now. We're saving you for later. But we've had, the distinction of having 3 people send wires, to the effect that they appreciate the fact that Harry is being roasted this evening. And, his name is notoriety far and wide. He exceeds the boundaries of Canada. Like, Metis people are particular to Canada, of course, and where else? We're here. But other people know him also. And I'll read you one short one here. I've, perused these, and I said, well, perhaps I shouldn't do it. My God, it's nice to maintain a sense of decorum. But our MC is somewhat loose, and in the spirit of being loose, and I will carry on that particular tradition. This first one reads now,
Telegram?
if I may, ladies and gentlemen, now it says, Dear Harry. Oh, my God. It says, you are lower than shark shit. And that's on the bottom of the ocean, and it's signed Jack Cousteau. Now, just a second now. Difficult here. Don't get carried away now. Just try and maintain a little sense of decorum, I say. This one is a message from the director of the Unwed Mothers Home. No, good heavens, no, I'll show a little discretion here, and I'll give this to Harry personally. You devil. Here. No, we have one more. No, one more, just a second now. I know these are zingers, You wouldn't expect this, our national president, our leader of our people. My God. If you think I'm not embarrassed, my God. Oh. This is from the Catholic Women's League of Canada. It says, Harry, happy days. We're pleased that you received such recognition. We know your theme song, Little Things Mean a Lot.
Thank you very much for reading those telegrams, and I won't read the one either because I don't understand it. It's from someone called MV, and I think if they don't have, it's a bit like signing your name to an Ann Landers letter. It says frustrated, but it said I have the wine and the room here in the Skyline Hotel in Ottawa, Harry. Where are you? And it was signed by MV, and I don't even know who that is. So for that reason, I thought I wouldn't read it. I want to call now on Zella Harris to, if she can. And she told me this was going to be one hell of a problem, one of the biggest assignments in her life, even though she's a flack. But she is going to say some nice things about Harry, and I'm kind of dying to hear them myself.
Gee, this is like being on national TV. Wow. Harry, I want to thank you, first of all, Jean, for having me up here. And they might call me a flat catcher, but tonight I'm going to hand out a little flat. Harry, I love you, first of all. First of all, I have to say I love you, so you'll take this all with what it's worth. I'm sure there are times in your life, Harry, when you'd rather have a lie told out.
More wine.
Harry,
Whiskey.
More wine.
You're so charming. You're just everything rolled up into one. But most of all, you're so intelligent. I remember a few years back
Can we get
when
another
you.
speaker? You paid $25 a plate to hear this?
A few years ago, I remember you were applying for a job. You came over to my office and you said, "Give me one of them application forms."
So you sat down with it, you were going to get yourself a darn good job. Some of the questions on the form were race. Harry puts down 100-yard dash. Sex, he puts down quite often, very confidently. Status, single. Children, none that I know of. And on and on. This is the way Harry filled it out. When he filled it out, he gave it to my boss, and the boss said, "You know, Harry, we're looking for a responsible man for this position." And Harry said, "I'm your man." He said, "The last place I worked, everything that happened, they said I was responsible." Harry, you tell me you're a half-breed, a real good half-breed. Half Cree and half French. That's not true. Harry is half Indian and half Scotch. Half of him wants to get drunk and the other half doesn't want to pay. And talk about jigging. Talk about jigging. Everybody knows what a good jigger he is. Not only is he a good half-breed step dancer, but he's one of those things that you pour booze in to measure. That's a jigger. Right? I don't mean you're full of booze. Now here you've gone on to Ottawa and you've become a national leader. You have your Pierre, and Stan, our Stan, he has his Peter. I hope that nobody's taking notes, because, never mind, I'll ask questions later. Harry, you become so affluent, successful. You've got all those newfangled things in your house. Even in your bedroom. You don't have a waterbed like Larry DeMel over here. Haven't you, Larry? But you have those things called twin beds. I know you try to sleep in one once in a while. But you know that fancy black hat? Harry always wears this fancy black hat. He's found a new use for it in his house. At night when he crawls into his little bed, he takes his black hat and throws it across to his sweet little wife. And I said, "How is that working, Harry?" He said, "Well, sometimes she throws it back, and other times she brings it back." Oh, boy. Well, Harry, I know how wild you are about women and how you chase them. You see this gray in my hair? I did it to get you off my back. But I gotta tell you the truth. I'm speaking about a guy who is charming, sexy, handsome, intelligent, and all the things.
It's Harry that's...
Oh, is it Harry? Oh. All the things that a woman desires in a man. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Harry? Not Paul Newman. Jane Leon. Anyway, Harry, like a good civil servant, I made a few notes. And I want to say, just at the end of what, all these nice things that I've said about you, you're not perfect, but believe me, with friends like us here tonight and what we're doing to you, on a score of 1 to 10, you certainly rate fair to middle, and I don't spell that with a D. Harry, you're wonderful. I love you. I'm glad you're NCC president, and keep up the good work.
Great, great. Thank you very much. Where the hell? Yeah, thanks, Joe. Thank you very much, Zala. I'm going to announce the next two speakers, because the first one's going to be Albert Angus from, what's the name of that? This land is our land, or our country, or our native land, or something, Yeah, the reason I forget the title is because it only has a budget of $142 million a year. And all he has to do is fly around to meetings like this and then edit the tape. And then the speaker after that's going to be Everett Soup. And the only reason I'm saying that in advance is because Everett, who's a registered Indian, is as you know, if you look at him, is our sort of our Star Wars answer. He's our R2-D2, as he. So, Everett, do you want to start making your way to it? Yeah, but you're not going to speak right away now. No, listen, Everett. Harry, would you hold him? Would someone grab his cane? The next speaker is Albert Angus from CBC, our native land. Albert?
Hey, Joe, do you want to lower this? Thank you.
You short people.
Yeah.
Should have worn my boots.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, like to thank the people that brought me up here, namely the Federation of Métis Settlements, Tentu Martin, representative of that. Also, before I started roasting my good friend here, Harry Daniels, would like to express my feelings, my good fortune, good wishes to the endeavors of the Federation of Métis Settlements in their endeavors towards audiovisual arts. I think that's a great idea. I believe in it. I've been involved in it for a long time. And anything that you can put together to put on film, on record, in any creative manner you can, I think is fantastic. First of all, I'd like to ask the audience, if I may, to give a good hand of applause to people involved in filmmaking. Thank you. Now something I've been waiting for. Well, actually, I have a few, you know. A matter of fact, some of them Harry Daniels have heard, so I don't want to dwell into those because they're all had by this time. First of all, I heard mentions of status Indian in this crowd. I happen to be one too. I was just thinking, you know.
We'll hold it against you.
Just wait. You know, I was just thinking about the way history books write history for the past 500 years or so, and they give a lot of credit to Columbus. And of course, all of us know that Columbus thought he found India. As a result, the indigenous people of this continent were called Indians. So I was just thinking, you know, lucky thing that Columbus wasn't looking for Turkey. Could you imagine headlines today, you know, wild turkeys march Parliament Hill, you know? And I was just thinking, you know, probably Harry Daniels would be known the president of non-status turkeys. You know?
That's what they call it.
He's a pretty good turkey, I'll tell you. I've had the good fortune to meet Harry Daniels over the years when I first got involved in communications. Matter of fact, a little recognition, the fact that I got started in communications in Alberta with the Alberta Native Communications Society back in 1970. And I've met a lot of people. Matter of fact, I'm happy to say I know most of the people in the head table. But what I'm getting at is that since I've known Harry then, I know that he was a professional stage actor then, and I've always admired performers, people involved in the performing arts. And I had the greatest opportunity last summer to co-act with this man here beside me. CBC Television had a television drama last summer, which me and Harry played principal characters. By the way, that particular television series will be released in January, Harry. I don't know if you've got that word already. I don't know the dates exactly, but it's going to run 3 hours, 1 hour episodes, 3 1 hour episodes. And what I'm getting at is that a few Indian people were involved in that drama, and at the end, Harry Daniels gets killed, you see, along with some other members of the cast. And I was the only one that was still alive, and that's how the movie ends, you see. And then I heard that after that, the CBC were entertaining the idea of doing 2 more episodes because they didn't have a clean conclusion of that drama piece. And I heard that, well, of course, Harry Daniels got killed in the last episode, so, you know, that means that's it for him. If there's 2 more episodes, that's it for him. But I heard that he was lurking around the casting director's office. He was trying to convince the casting director that all Indians look alike. Geez, I'm glad I'm not a politician, because I'm going to end my speech very, very short. All right. I understand that Native Council of Canada are going to hold their annual assembly next week, Harry, and that some members of the executive will be up for election, and that's other members other than yourself, Harry, I understand. A very prominent Métis leader told me the other week. He said that, he said that, I was asking about these elections. You know, I've attended a lot of half-breed elections here and there, and I just get involved there one way or the other, mostly as an observer, of course. And he was telling me last week, and he said, hey, listen, he says, when you put 2 half-breeds in the same room, you get a fight, he says. And when you put 3 half-breeds in the same room, he says, you have an election. Like to wish Harry Daniels the best of luck, and I hope he's a good referee in his upcoming General Assembly next week. Thank you very much.
Joe, could you help me raise this thing?
What am I, nigger or what?
Yeah.
Got our colored help here.
And now slowly making his way towards the microphone is actually, he doesn't have trouble standing up, it's just getting up. Is that the problem we had? I want to introduce to you one of our great friends and a person who put a lot of effort into getting here. He drove a long way and knocked the hell out of his drinking time. Everett, could you... Couldn't do that for me.
I've never been more insulted in my life. They told me that there was a dignitary that was going to be roasted. Not this thing. Actually, you know, she thinks, Raya Campbell thinks that she's nervous. I'm worse than she is. So I have to ask my brothers when they told me when to go to act like Foster Brooks. I can't be Foster Brooks, so I thought I'll put some costumes on, look like a Métis. Heck of it, you know what a Métis looks like. You know, just a couple of years ago, one of the 10 worst dressed men, Harry Daniels, I said that, you know, he looks like somebody that just got mauled by a grizzly bear. That wasn't true. It was his wife that did it.
Who the hell would that be 10 years ago?
But, you know,
But my mother told me, said, she's quite wise, just go up there and be yourself, be natural, give compliments to everybody. I'm quite a nice guy, really. See, I got to mention Adrian Hope. I have a very deep respect for him. I heard his talk that last week. He said that the Métis people are the cream of the top of two people. I came here, when I first was invited, they told me that Daniels, I don't hear too good. I thought they said Stan Daniels. Roasted for. He's got Bob Bogle, hasn't he? He thinks he's the only one that's statusing it. Me, I got to admit that I always had an affinity to the Métis people because both of my grandmothers are half-breeds. But the reason I'm not a Métis because they're a little bit smarter. But I'm not so sure. The reason I am not a Métis, they don't know where Batoche is.
Over here. What are we doing? Well, I don't know. What side am I going on here?
Like I said, I come up here. I hate to roast him because, he's a barbecued son of a gun anyways. I've been trying to think of, to see something nice about him. Can't do it. I guess that's why, what I don't like is, being brought all the way up here to see something nice about him. I don't know what's so nice about him. And I still don't like that insult thing. Most people don't realize that, all my life I've been trying to be a stand-up comedian. This is a hell of a way to be a stand-up comedian, leaning on something. I'm still trying to know who he is. Who's being roasted? I'm pretty sure it's somebody. Staring at me, please. I do have something nice to say about you. I'm not going to say it. The difficult part of it is, why do I have to come 300 miles or so, make a damn fool out of myself? It's only natural. A damn fool is being honored. I haven't said it yet. And I'm not going to say it.
Does it get better or what? I don't know.
No, but to me it's a real honor to be here. Because I don't like, people coming up and calling Harry down, about his drinking. After all, Lysol is the Métis drink. They need it. They need to be cleansed.
Gotta be the cleanest son of a bitch in town.
Give me a double shot of Lysol.
What I'd like to know is, what does he do with the Dutch cleanser? I was going to be trying to be serious, really. I don't know why. You know, Albert, let's get the hell back to the reserve. You say the Métis don't have a reserve. They belong to a colony, like the one next to me. They're Hutterites. Thing more to say. Hell, I But I'll tell you something. Yeah, this is, they want, I see it says here, you know, to have fun and shit. Unity. The unity that the people really need is this. Because we need the Métis people, and they need the treaty people. So it does not matter where you belong. We are all native people, and we should unite. And a hell of a way to do it is show a sense of humor, and I think it's being displayed very vividly right now. Thank you.
Beautiful piece of work. Nicely done. Joe, are you gonna go next?
Good.
Okay. I wasn't feeling her.
Your own.
I want to... Oh, geez, here. Amazing. Amazingly stupid.
Cut this guy off.
I think over the course of 8 years that I have been around this town, a lot of them came over here and said they bragged about being Saskatchewanians. The only good thing that came out of Saskatchewan is an empty bus, and Harry was was exactly that. That's not true. I'm from Saskatchewan myself. A little place called Beacon Hill, Saskatchewan. I love that dear place. I go visit it every year, just to remind me the mistake my mother and father made. And I also, when I drive through Regina Beach, I said, son of a bitch, they should bomb this place. However, ladies and gentlemen, I guess the only way I can roast Harry and I go a long way back, and I mean a long way back. And I suppose we even met before we even met, dear bud. You know, this is serious, because I'm going to have to get serious here for a couple of minutes to explain why I chose, and I asked... Thank you. Why I chose to roast this man, because I've known him for a long time. Many of us through the course have stumbled into all kinds of ventures, and I am certainly one of them, and Harry certainly made his debut throughout the country. I've enjoyed. We've not always been in agreement with a lot of things, but I think in a roast like this we have to be both serious and bring out the humor. Crawl out of my back seat many times trying to help his people.
Oh, yeah.
Harry and I have woke up by the river bank. Harry and I have woke up from strange beds. Helping our people, of course. Harry and I have been here and there, mostly there. And I think one of the things that I appreciate about this man is, why you're going to be at that roast. I says, hell with Harry. I says, I'm mad at him. But you know, this is the serious part.
We all take on responsibilities. Adrian can verify that, and many old-timers can verify that. And a lot of young people can also verify the statement of wanting to do something for our own people. And we do. Underneath his black heart, I know the man a little different than most of you people do. I have woken up in the same bed, not that we're queer, because Lloyd did question anything. We woke up because there was nothing else to hold on to but each other. I woke up too many times. I know a lot of you guys would probably think we're queer, but we held on to each other many times while my wife was at home alone. My ex-wife, I should say. You know, I know there's a lot of people here about Alcoholics Anonymous. I used to do that program, and he said, Joseph, he said, I'm in love. I says, I know. His birthday. I said, okay, I'll be there like a bear. And I can't stand anybody drinking when I'm sitting there sober. Finally, he poured me a little drink, and I says, 1 week later, I was still drunk in Slave Lake. That's how I we made a lot of progress in many ways. And I suppose what I'm really trying to say amongst all of us, when I refused to come to Will's roast, I told my secretary, son of a bitch in place, because I'm going to be there. I'm never
Right about that.
I want to thank Tantu and the Maiden Settlements for doing such a wonderful job here this evening. And there's only one thing I can really say about you, Harry. You're a son of a bitch, but you're a good one. And I hope you can hang on to it.
Jesus. Yeah. No, when you said it might be the last time you're ever invited to speak, you're right. No. Seriously, this is a roast for Harry Daniels, and we know your contributions, and we appreciate them. And we thank you for being with us tonight. Quite seriously. The next person I have on is nervous. Is Larry DeMel, and please hold your applause. And when I talked to Larry DeMel, as I did to Stan, I said, Larry, with Harry Daniels, and you can give all sorts of shots at him, and you can do anything you want. And Larry said to me, he said, yeah, that's a good line. Said because and I think we got the announcement here today, didn't we, Harry, from Ottawa, that no one can ever again take shots at Larry DeMel because he's been put on the list of endangered species by the Save the Whales people. A great friend of ours, Larry DeMel, the Executive Director of the Alberta Native Communications Society. Larry, take over.
Thank you, Dean.
Sure, yeah.
I'm a little shorter than you are, but I'm better looking.
That's not hard.
Also, first of all, I'd like to thank the Federation for asking me to come up here and speak, because seeing him in such an elegant surrounding. I'd like to talk about Harry for a while tonight. None of you girls had hot dogs tonight. Only one able to make it. Harry's an old friend of mine. I'd like to talk to him in areas of politics, birth, and who can talk about Harry and not mention the word sex? No one. Harry is, as you can see tonight, is dressed very sharp. The reason is they got a better friendship center in Ottawa than we got here in Edmonton. I have to go back a few years, and I think about Smokey Tompkins sitting there, which is Jim Tompkins. We know as Smokey, settlements, colonies, isolated communities, and he had a telephone in his car. But most of the previous people didn't know is that phone didn't work. But he used to carry Tompkins in the trunk, and Tompkins would ring the bell every once in a while, And he would answer this thing, and he'd say, "Yes, Mr. Premier," Of course the people were excited, And Harry was in Edmonton at that time, and he was watching the... Of you all familiar with the Friendship Center, but right around the corner there's a place where you sharpen your knives, your axes, and everything else. So Harry picked me up in the station wagon, and there was a big axe in between us, And you have to realize that saws, axes, the whole works, because that's the way of life. I said, "What the hell are you doing with the axe in the car, Harry?" He said, "I just had it sharpened around the corner." I said, "No goddamn wonder we're losing, It's our native people. Very demanding bosses. And we're criticized sometimes a lot of things that we do. And Harry is being at the helm up there. He gets a lot of those shots, Great guy, Harry. I think you're a lousy politician. I think he's death, but I've never kissed you. I think that, well, that fucking story. A great job down there. And it's sure wonderful you come to Alberta again and see us common people. Sit down. Break a little bread with us occasionally, or a little bannock, I should say, and a little lard. And Harry does all of these things. I like to say on behalf of myself and fooling around with Tony Mandaman. Slumming, she's with the treaty union. No class. I say on behalf of her and Harry, great to see you again. And I hope you never get Gene Riom to him. And over here we have Sammy Davis Jr. I'm Don Rickles.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have besides what we've already heard, and including dessert, one of the most revered non-smokers, one of our great friends in Alberta, Hope, and then we're going to call on Larry Sutton, because apparently some more telegrams have come in. It's just, Larry, would you pay attention? Lloyd, would you? No, not yet. Not. To say a few words. I'm going to call on Lloyd Sutton, and then we're going to have our dessert, but then we got some tremendous entertainment, and we want you to get to that, which is, because really has talent. So, Adrian, sir, if you'd take the microphone, we'd be honored.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to stand here this evening. I've heard a lot of things said about my friend here. But the first time I met him, he had quite a beard on him, as well as a mustache. That's why they call him Harry the Dog. I don't know. They're kind of old-timers, and they gave him, quite a bit of dry meat. Pounded dry meat mixed with Saskatoons and choke cherries, and he started eating it, and he ate a heck of a lot of it. And that stuff there, if you eat 1 pound of it, well, you don't have to eat for 3 days, and he must have ate about 6 pounds of it. And when he got to that water up there, he got down on his tummy and he started drinking, and when this water dissolved that dry meat, well, it started expanding. The first thing I know, here was Harry with a big tummy walking around here. But you wonder why he comes up here to Alberta every once in a while. I know he's stationed in Ottawa, and that's where we, the Metis people, put him, to kind of take the lead for us in many ways. But you wonder why he comes up here? Down there, the water is so badly polluted, and he gets foggy in the brain. He comes up here to drink our good water, so that clear his mind. I heard some people say they had to flush the toilets twice so he could have a drink of water. I don't know. It's a possibility. Be that as it may, ladies and gentlemen, Harry here has done a wonderful job for the Metis people of Canada, and I think he deserves a big round applause for the efforts he has done for all the Metis people of Canada. We would like to thank Harry for this. Harry, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for everything you've done for us. Keep up the good work. And I hope you win the election again and stay for another year. Because, after all, I don't know of any man that's worked any harder for us, for the Metis people of Canada, than Harry has in the last year. He's done a lot of good things for us, and we certainly hope he continues his good work. But if he just depends on himself, I don't know whether he'd get very far. It has to be done by all the leaders of Canada to support him. In fact, every one of us has to support him. And we give him what we think whenever we assemble once a year. And with that, he tries his best. And I don't know as I can say anything more about the boy. This is, I think, is as far as I could go with him. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a happy evening, and I hope that you'll all get home safely after we've had all the enjoyment this evening. Thank you for listening to me. We will make it that short. Yeah, I shortened it.
Thanks, Joe. Adrian Hope, it's always it's an honor even to be a master of ceremonies at a head table that you are present, sir. I just honor you that much. You're just now we have some other speakers, of course. One of our head table guests hasn't spoken yet, and the other one, who is the goat, or I guess I should say the dog, although I don't know who named him that. So I'm going to call on our last head table speaker before our guest of honor, and it's a great honor for me to. If you think he's only got half a goddamn eye, he's only got half a brain. And I want to call on Lloyd Sutton to be our speaker. Lloyd, would you?
Gene, thank you very kindly. Ask him to wink for us. I think they're done, Joe, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to give us a wink. All the lights will go out, but don't be nervous, because that's what happens when he winks.
Put it right down, Joe. I just say, oh my God, I'll tell you. Look, yeah, thank you. Bless you all from Montreal, yeah. I tell you, it's a very rare occasion when I, in fact, take up notes, generally any address I do to any kind of congregation, be it native people or whites or Germans whatsoever, because you have to realize the fact that I'm highly fluent in any number of languages, of course. I just don't take notes. It's off the top of my head. But it seems that earlier this evening I connected with our Blackfoot brother from down south, and consequently I blew the top of my head off, and I said, well, Jesus Christ, I have to mark something down. That's all there is to it. And here I am. I want you to know that, when I speak, I never speak with a forked tongue. I'm very, very honest. And we have a brother here, we're roasting. And when you say roast, I symbolize roast with some kind of a fowl. Well, he's a fowl bird, he's a turkey, and we're roasting this sucker, I'll tell you right now. And the vast majority of the people this evening have been somewhat kind, in my opinion. And Ordinarily, like, I don't resort to, the use of swear words, whatever the course may be. But in describing this gentleman, as I know him so well, I have to throw in the zinger, So, consequently, our program will have to be brief from time to time, but we'll get on with that later. I've known Harry. Oh, Christ, have I known Harry? For years and years and years. Our friendship goes, or acquaintanceship, whatever the case may be, multi-moons, And we've had happy days and not too many sad days, And it especially pleases me to see that a personal acquaintance of mine, which in the course of my growing up years has, transpired to be the president of the Native Council of Canada. I said, Christ, I'm traveling in heavy company here. This Indian's all right, goddamn, And I love it. I'm somewhat egotistical. You'd never guess that, of course, unless I told you, Now I look at him here, and I know he's happy. He's exceptionally happy. Regardless of what he tells you after, I know he has the final word, but he has the closing address. I see him now, and I'm an old fisherman. The last time I saw a mouth like that, it had a hook in it. I look at him. No, he's nice. He's a gentleman. I have a number of notes here. I just want to just to bring to your attention. I know now. He aspired to the heights on numerous occasions in the course of his career. We know he pursued a professional career by way of law degrees and so on and so forth. I know personally for a fact that he was involved within the medicinal studies. Oh Christ! And trust a matey, he was in gynecology. Well, after 2 years, he got thrown out for lingering over his work, if you can imagine. Now I know, for another fact, this comes later on in life, of course. I'm trying to give you a dialogue, as I've known him through the course of the years, of course. And he, went to a doctor one day, just not too long ago. He said, Doctor, Christ, I'm cracking up. He said, the job is getting to me as I'm going. And the doctor agreed, Well, Harry says, I'd like a second opinion. The doctor said, of course, you're ugly too. Now, just a second. When did I check my notes here? Just one hot second now, if you don't mind, please. Oh, yes. This goes back to 1958, Elvis Presley time. I knew him Winnipeg then, he was a child. I was considerably older, and he used to come to me for advice. No. And he had a saying at that particular time. He said, it's better to have loved than lost than never to have been bald and tall. Now, I think there's some commendation there.
He said that like...
Oh, did he ever? Oh, no.
Harry said that.
Yes, now. Well, I got to throw you another one that's obvious to me. His favorite song is, of course, Little Things Mean a Lot. Well, that's common knowledge, of course. Another one now. Boom. This is off the left shoulder. Now, this side here. I used to kiss her on the lips, but it's all over now. He's a Métis, can't help it. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's been such a headache. Well, certainly I got to touch my notes up from time to time. Oh.
Hey, listen, I'm wasting some tape.
Peter, shut the cameras down, We're videotape.
Oh, Christ. I have to tell you this. Now, this you find this somewhat upsetting. I was pleased. Doesn't matter. I was pleased to see that he was elected to the prime position, president of the Native Council of Canada. My God, Anybody could say, it's nice, for our people, but more particularly a personal friend. And I said, well, Christ, Harry, what are you going to do? He said, well, whatever. I'll do what I have to do for my people. fantastic line. It sounds good on tape. I knew that, he would have trouble designing white lines for parking lots. I knew. Yes. Anyhow, in closing, I can only say, Christ, it's, for all the good and the bad and everything else, it hasn't always been roses. He's not a bad guy. I'll throw a couple of one-liners in here very quickly because you people appreciate him. He has a good head. It's too bad he's got a foreskin for a neck, of course. Give me one on that. And over and above all that, I can always say, it's...
Last time you ever...
No.
Oh, go ahead, drink.
It's been
He's ruining the rest of the evening.
No, knowing the gentleman, he is a gentleman, really. When it comes down to crunch, he maintains himself. He has a sense of decorum, decree, and everything else. I've set the style fashions for Western Canada, and he picked up on it 5 years ago, so he dresses accordingly, so say thank you, Lord Sutton. Thank you, Harry. It's been a touch of heaven, really, knowing the man. He's a good man, And by way of closing, I can only wish that the Great Spirit holds him in the palm of the hand when he applauds him.
You had to do it, eh? Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, Joe, can you do that again?
I told you, he's always screwing, eh?
I told you, Lloyd, to wear your platform soles, but you apparently already were. Ladies and gentlemen, well, we've had some fun and so on, and there's dessert yet tonight, and there's a lot of entertainment tonight, including Shannon Two Feathers, Tom Jackson. Is Tom here? Where's Tom? Where's Shannon, first of all? Shannon, can't see you because of the lights. Tom Jackson. Come on, Shannon, smile so I can see you. There's a lot of entertainment. The evening is only beginning, but before it does, I think it only fair that I was going to say some nice things about him to wrap it up, but well, why should I? Because I can call on him to say some nice things about himself. And so, ladies and gentlemen, just before we adjourn, and Harry, you don't have a lot of time.
Come on, sing it up, Harry.
You've been a bit of the goat. I want to call on, and there's going to be a time lag while we clear the tables to go dancing. Briefly, Harry, I want you to say something. Say something on behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor and our goat, Harry Daniels.
Well, nice meeting you.
It's okay, Harry, we're here.
Look behind Peter, all here.
Who organized this?
Harry, I love you.
Bastards in the
Don't believe him.
We should have done it to you. We should have done it to you.
That wasn't half bad. I see more people walk out in my election. I'm going to drop this thing down here so you can see my pretty face. I get prettier as the night goes on. I only drank 2 bottles of wine so far. Not counting all the scotch. Anyway, you know, Jean Riom is a very personal friend of mine. We've been working together for quite some time. And he was bragging. Well, we did some time together, too. That's when he was Joe's kid. But anyway, he was bragging about his sexual prowess one night. And he said, geez, Harry, I'm really good. Well, I found out that the other night he was out with a hooker. And if he didn't leave any goddamn money, she would know he was there.
That's dirty, Harry. That's dirty. Below the belt. You're right about that. Below the G-string. Below the G, inside the G-string, that one.
I mean, who do you attack first, right? The head breed, right? Anyway, I want to say a few things about the folks that aren't here tonight. First of all, my cousin Stan.
Louder, Harry. Louder, clearer.
How you doing, cuz? We keep in the family, we're all folks. We're country. You can't hear me? How about that? A second. Can you hear me now? Anyway, I'll tell you what. No, I just want to say a few things about the folks who aren't here tonight. I understand they were otherwise occupied. First of all, my cousin Stan. Well, Stan doesn't need a roast to get to me. He does it every day. Henry Hill couldn't be here, the Minister of Emergency Trailers. The other thing I want to say about Henry is that he's putting us all on wheels.
Back off our feet.
You know, I mean, the white guys on wheels just back up a truck and we just, there you go, and one more breed gone. Plus a couple of kids. Harold Cardinal, of course, couldn't be here. The Emperor of the Indian Association of Alberta. He wrote a book called The Unjust Society. Very prophetic work. He knows now how fucking unjust. Did I swear? Just how unjust. Boo hiss. I promise not to say fuck. Anyway. Just how unjust society really is. He stands alone in the dark. Edward Soup, of course, will back him up. And Freddie Jobin, of course, couldn't be here tonight. His name was on the agenda, a very good friend of mine. Freddie Jobin is so skinny. He's only got one stripe in his pajama. He's the only guy I know who's got to run on the shower to get wet. No, but seriously, I love Fred. But every time I look at him, he reminds me of a reservation dog. He really does. Reservation dog. All ribs and prick. Andy Collins couldn't be here. His presence is noted by his absence. But you probably, hey, look at it. I don't blame him. He's looking for a job, right? I mean, how many people would get root beer? Poor kid, old devil that he is. Anyway, during the course of the evening, various people have taken shots at me, right? Well, I'll tell you what. Lloyd, stand up. Let folks take a look at you.
Take a look at me.
Yeah. Guy's pretty, eh? Last time I saw a guy dressed like... There you go. Wouldn't hurt. Last time I saw a guy dressed like that, he got me 2 broads. Cost me $100. No, but serious, when Lloyd gets serious, we're shooting pool one day, he says, Harry, I'll tell you what, I really feel good today, I'm going to lose you an eye. I just want to tell Lloyd one thing. Remember, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Having said all that, is Lloyd still working for you? You're still operating that same joint you had before, eh? To Broads and the Booze? Oh, Zella, I used to have a nice spot. Well, I won't talk about that, okay? I was going to call her Madam Zella, but be bulls in here and everything. We're going to cause a fight. Anyway, Maria Campbell she wrote a book called Half-Breed. Well, she was only half right. Where'd she go? You scared her off, eh, Lloyd? Disconnected, eh? Drunk again. Albert Angus. Well, I want to tell you. You know, Untreating has really got it good. But this is the first time you'll see it in a gathering like this, an unemployed chicken dancer.
Get a little close to the boat.
Yeah. And while we're on Treating Indians, the walking pretzel, Mr. Soup. Did you bring? Jim Tompkins, you know, he talks about being the godfather of my child. Well, it was an easy choice. He's the first guy when I saw him, when I woke up after a drunk. I said,
So was the child for crazy?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, really, seriously. Jim got me off booze for 6 months. I'll never forgive him. The son of a bitch almost sobered me up.
Where's fucking 6 months?
There were 6 months I ever put in. No, I came to terms with my drinking last week, really I did. I mean, for a lot of times I've lied to myself. I have a clear conscience now. I fucking love getting drunk. Where'd Joe go? Is Joe here? They aren't bright enough. Oh, Joe! I thought Joe Bryan left. Good to see him here. I'll tell you one thing, like he said before, one of my favorite partners. He'll stick and stay, make it pay. He'll jump in, pitch till you win. If you ever need a guy to back you up, you count on Joe Bryan. But one thing you gotta watch out for, when it gets kind of dark and they're shooting at you, they're gonna miss Joe, they're gonna get you. You know, hey, Larry DeMells is a really good friend of mine, really is. I've known him for some time. He's the only guy that I know who caused an international fishing incident. Larry oftentimes goes to Hawaii and basks in the sun.
Why not?
But last year I got a call, well, national president from the Métis Association and all this kind of stuff, you know, near the Council of Canada. I got a phone call. And he said, Harry, we've got a hell of a situation in Hawaii. I said, what is it? He said, you know what? He said, the Japanese fishing fleet was going off Hawaii. Speared Larry DeMells. They thought he was a beach whale. But before I got to him, he drug in the Russians were there, the Japanese. I said, hey, Larry, you look at I'm your pal, but I'm this is a bit of a pal. Adrian Hope. What can you say about Adrian Hope? Guy's a hell of a dude. Blacker than most. He was telling me he's a bronc rider. Oh, I got a bad wheel. I know he ain't a bronc rider. Must have happened after he was a bronc rider. He told me today, he says, Harry, he says, you grab that bucking string like this, and you throw it back like this. And I said, yeah, is that right? Is that how you stick on them saddle broncs? He said, yeah. And I started jacking off.
Could you cut the cameras? Cut the cameras. Hit the lights up.
Harry.
I only want to say one thing in closing.
Oh, I know.
Really?
Better than the last one?
Really.
My kid's running out. Hurry up.
Before I close, I want to challenge, and I don't think he has the balls to do it, of course, but he may have. At the Métis Association of Alberta's annual assembly this year, I challenge Red McDonald to 3 rounds, and I'm going to whip his ass. Are you here, Red? Let the folks see. Where's Red? I can't see it. Where's Red? Red, I'm not. See how pretty? You think Muhammad Ali is pretty? Take a look at this shit. I'm not. I'll be all over you. Hey, look, hey, Red. I'll be all over you like Funk on the Skunk. I'll hit you so many times that you think you're standing in a crowd. You think customers around today? Woohoo! Look out. No. In closing, I want to say one thing. I think it's a very great evening. We've enjoyed ourselves. The Métis Federation is fighting for Aboriginal rights. Aboriginal rights which is the central and focal point of our life. If we don't have our Aboriginal rights is based upon our heritage and our occupancy and use of the land. And all you people gathered here tonight should get behind the Métis Federation. People like Morris Laurendale, Adrian Hope, people who are still fighting. Their in-house consultant, honorary Métis Fred Martin.
Nice guy.
And I don't say it lightly because Fred, I have sometimes difficulty in relating to Fred because I talk to him as a half-breed. And I say, well, deep respect, Fred. Real deep respect. You are, and I think, one of the greatest guys ever walked. Finally, I want to say that Tantu Martin, who helped put this thing together, deserves it. Give it to her. Give it to her. Tantu Martin. Where is she? I want to see her. Where is Tantu Martin? Where is Tantu Martin? Deserves a small word, Tantu. Begs to have you up here. Really. If Tantu can't come here, I'll talk for her.
I thought I'd do that.
Is she done there with Maria or what? Can't trust them big broads. Here we go, Tantu Martin.
Okay, that's quite enough. Just kidding.
Forget the speech, we're going to get it on over here.
And while Harry and Tantu are... No.
Just for a brief pause here. Well, I don't know what I'm doing standing up here. Yeah, I guess so. I work for the Federation, and the Federation is poor. We got to think of all kinds of ways of making money to do the things that we want to do. The things that we want to do don't exactly fit into the policies that are set up for the way the money runs. And the only way that we can do the things we want to do, to talk about the things that are really important as people, talk about brotherhood, and that's, I guess, why we were roasting Harry, you know, because he's a brother and he can take it because he's solid. And
I'm not so sure about that.
but You know, I happen to be sitting in this position at this time to try to put the roast together. I could have never done it, you know, without Fred and Marilyn and Red. I didn't do it. And everybody here. And that's that.
Oh, yeah, get another kiss. Oh, sure, shit, you get a kiss from her, and I didn't even shake my goddamn hand. Joe, do you want to move it up? Can you? Is it? Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Pierce. No. Seriously, we're at the end of this part of the program, and I want to thank you all for being here and for having and for paying $25 for an $8 meal. And as the MC, I want to thank our head table guests, but mostly I want to thank you for coming here. One of the things that I think is very important for Native people is that we have a chance to get together. I'm a Native person, and as is Adrian Hope, as is so on. But the head table goes a long way beyond that. Would you guys shut up? I mean, do you want to make the speech or what? Yes. No. And seriously, while it was a roast on Harry Downs, it was. We're saying something to Canadians, you know, as he gets heavy. You know what we're saying? We're saying that we're Native people, and the goddamn rights we're here, and we're in the London area, and we're here 100 strong. And we're proud of it. And we're proud of whatever is Harry Daniels. And can't you wear your name on your suit? No, seriously, we're proud of them. We're not only proud of the head table. Are you kidding? Every one of us here has something to do with. We're proud of the fact that we're all here. We're all Native people.
On welfare. On welfare.
We're all on welfare.
Toast to Harry, one time.
No, seriously, yeah, it's okay for you to laugh, Joe. No, seriously, I want to thank every one of you at the tables tonight. Harry's not that great, you know, and there's a bunch of rest of us are kind of good too. But seriously, we're going to dispense now. We're going to have dessert. We're going to have dessert, and we're going to have a dance and last toast. And I want to compliment Maurice Lirondelle, the Association of Medi-Colonies, or Federation of Medi-Colonies, because I want to tell you, Maurice Lirondelle, without ever having read your program, all of us in Canada recognize the effort you are putting in to preserving the last bastion of Métis rights in this country, and we're with you. And if we can do anything to help you, we will. And this is just a simple token of what we'd like to really do to help you. And so now if you'll go to the bar, we'll get our drink tickets. We're going to have some dance. There's some very special entertainers tonight, one of whom is...
I need a piss. Would you shut up?
Oh, yeah. Anyone now, is there anyone in the audience who would like to...
Piss?
No, you can do that for nothing. If there's anyone who'd like to take a microphone and say anything against Harry Daniels or even, come to think of it, for him. I can't imagine that, but you can do it if you want to put $5 in for the medical.
In the hat, in the hat.
I do.
Do you want to say anything against Harry Daniels? No. No, you've already done it. Larry DeMille wants to put another $5 in to say something nasty about Harry.
Willie Campbell was first. Willie Campbell was
Do I
first.
get my change, eh?
No. Where's Willie Campbell?
Okay, well, you got first crack.
Where's Willie?
Right here.
Willie? Just,
You want to drop the microphone down about 4 feet?
where's, can you do that, native land?
Get the five first. Get the five first.
Please, of course, yeah. $5, please.
It's already in there. Hey, I'll tell you, one thing I want to do is I ask everybody to stand up for Harry the dog. All right?
Run them down, not build them up.
Hey,
For $5, why not?
I want to build them up this time. Okay? Everybody, hey, let's all get together and stand up. All right?
Fuck, I'm not going to do that.
Here's to the dog.
Harry the dog.
I never did like him anyway.
Okay, Gordy Hornby? And who's Gordy Hornby, general manager, he got his $5.
$5, I'll make it short. There's not many government people here tonight, but all I want to do is warn Harry, the last guy that tried to help Medi people, we hung him.
We got your $5.
Okay, my five next.
Here's a $5 from Tony Mandeman.
Give me 15 back.
No, let me ask you, get 50.
What do you want change for, Larry? all I'm gonna do, I gotta lean close to this because my voice. I'm gonna tell you how Harry got into politics here. He is in Ontario, see, and he's in northwestern Ontario, and there's a fellow there called Nanabush. And Nanabush is a great leader of the Ojibways that was sent by the Manitou. And Harry was wandering around in Nanabush country, and it was fall, and it was getting kind of cold. And Harry started around in Nanabush, and he complained. He says, it's really cold here. And Nanabush said, well, that's easy to fix. He says, come with me. And Harry followed him. And Nanabush led him over to this lake. And there's a bunch of geese out there. Nanabush says, just a moment. He goes back in the bush, comes back with a big long stick, calls over a couple of big ganders. And then he says to one big gander, he says, bite the end of the stick. And the gander bites it. And then tells the other gander, bite the other end of that stick. Gander bites it. So then he tells Harry, he says, bite the middle of that stick. So Harry does. And Nanabush looks at them and he says, okay, fly south.
Don't come back.
Well, anyways, they kind of take a long run and they get up in the air and they fly over this Ojibwe village. And the Ojibways look up and there's this flock of geese going by and there's this kind of weird formation right in the center. And they look up and they say, wait, that's Harry Daniels. You know, he's flying south with the geese. And they all start cheering and waving and shouting, and Harry looks down, they're all waving and shouting at him, you know. And it really makes him feel proud, so he shouts back. Well, anyways, Nanabush comes up to him, and Harry's lying there, and he's all kind of broken up and really hurting. And Nanabush looks at him and he says, son, if you can't keep your mouth shut, you might as well become a politician.
Thank you, big Harry, Tony Mandeman. Mind you, he has some heavy training behind him. You know, he speaks well for his people. Oh.
$5 in the hat yet?
Where's your $5?
Where's your fin?
Just one hot second now. We got a fin here. No going, no. Who was next now? Who was
Larry DeMille is next.
Larry DeMille, what? I would like to see the blue, if you don't mind, please. I'm the counter of the kind of change.
You're also unemployed.
You're also unemployed as of now. My change.
$5. $5.
Well, I'll make it 10, okay?
All right.
Never be said I was a tight one. I would just like to say, is Realm still in this building?
Yeah, he's here.
Big bad Gene? Let's have a round of applause for Gene. That's all I spend. I think he's not too bad of an MC. Ugly looking sucker, but not a bad MC.
Here though, God damn it.
There he is, good. That's it. I spent $10 for that round of applause, Gene.
Hey, Gene. Look,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
I'm going to get drunk now.
I'm being told that the tables are going to be moved for a lot of good times this evening. And I would like to ask the management to start moving the tables now because I think we've eaten a lot. We've been doing that. All right. But anyway, I'd like to throw at $10. I'd like to throw at $10 to make one more. One more, just short line. One more. $20? No. And this is on behalf of my fellow status Indian, Everett Soup. Boo hiss. No more. I was told that is the management taking a dancing area being cleared? But I was told that the reason why the half-breeds lost the rebellion back in Batoche in Saskatchewan was as a result, well actually I heard this from a Métis representative, and he tells me that apparently Riel, or rather his people, not Riel himself, but his people after him, were saying that the reason why they lost the rebellion was because even though they had the Indians to help them in their rebellion, and it's just the Indians, after one battle, then the Indians go down and dance. Go and dance for 4 nights and you don't see them again, But I was thinking,
Come on,
$10, what can you do? What can you do? But anyway, another 5. Oh, this one. All right,
got 3 more minutes. Well, we're going to allow one more speaker for $5, and it's Zella.
No way. No way. I've got $5. I've got Gene, I've got Harry, I've got Larry, I've got Albert, and I guess Larry. Lloyd. Is that $5?
That's my baby.
Right on.
What do you want?
Well, that's $5.
Yeah, you've got us all, sweetie. Ladies, would you clear the tables, because we're going to... Now they're going to try. I want to introduce you Ron Garchar from Government of Ontario.
Ontario.
I got that right.
I noticed over here it was said there isn't that many government officials. And I think there's government officials from Business Development and Tourism, from CMHC, from Alberta Housing and Public Works. And he put his $5 in. It was mine too. And there was a point here about the last hanging, about Louis Riel. Well, I don't think Harry has to worry because in the province of Alberta, Stan Daniels has to hang before Harry. So you don't have to worry.
Sometimes a little bit of rain, sunshine and rain go together as one bird and only one thing. The first time, everybody's been saying a lot of good things about Harry all night. I want to touch him too, because I touched Harry about 6 years ago with a song called Apple Wine. And I was telling the story not to hurt Harry, but to just explain to him where I was coming from myself. One day Harry shared his fears with me. He sat down and he said, "Jesus, I got a sore head." We'd been on a drunk for a long time, and he got kind of paranoid. You know what the feeling's like? I'm sure a lot of you out there do. And his paranoia was really touching Harry, and I said, "Don't worry, Harry, I'll take you to the hospital and we'll get it over." We got down to the general hospital, and he told the nurse, "Jesus, my head hurts." She said, "Move me, I've got to open." But she said, let me tell you something. She wanted to put him on a bit. And she said, we had a guy here from Tofield this morning. We cut his toe off. Another guy lived in the foothills. We cut his foot off. Jesus, Harry really got paranoid. I said, don't worry, Harry. It's a good thing you're not from Balzac or Cochrane. You know, some of the people that made the album possible are here tonight. A fine bunch of people, musicians. I'd like to relate a funny story to you that happened to me just a few weeks back. I met a young Indian guy come to my office and he said, hey, he said, how come you don't use Indian musicians? Because I said I haven't found any that worked in the studio before. He said, well, how come you're not singing Indian songs? You're singing love songs. I said, what's the matter? Don't you think Indians fall in love? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the fine musicians that made the album possible, that gave themselves unselfishly. I'm not going to introduce them all separately because they work as a group. Here is the band that played the backup on the album Dreams of Feet of Gypsy, Pickens. Oh, sorry, they changed their name to One Horse Blues. That's okay. They were Pickens when I knew them then.
They were nice boys.
Into the tavern like a singing teenage king. His smiling face could not erase or hide his broken dream. Staring through the shadows of the hunger he knew well, he greeted old pretensions with a smile that spoke of death. Between the lines, the passing time had written on his face, aging spoke to find him in another time and place. He said, I'll die or satisfy this hunger with no name. He walked up to the bandstand and I listened as he sang. That old road is long and lonely when you're looking for a friend, and you're tempted by old devils. It's hard to start again when you're haunted by your love affairs that somehow didn't last. It's like searching for a future in the heartbreaks of the past. The rhinestones on his faded jeans would catch the lights and shine like patches of believing that used to ease his mind. But he keeps right on singing, Lord, and each tune will be mine, shedding old illusions to the gentle touch of time. That old road is long and lonely when you're looking for a friend, and you're tempted by old devils. It's hard to start again when you're haunted by old love affairs that somehow didn't last. It's like searching for a future in the heartbreaks of the past. But you never find the future in the heartbreaks of the past. Thank you very much. There's old Harry right there. Tony said the last time the leader did what Harry was doing, he was going to get hanged, or he got hung. Well, Harry's not too worried about it because he figures he's been hung all along. In a few minutes, you're going to have a fine singer up here I've had a chance to work with. I've met in Portage La Prairie, as we were talking to him, Mariposa, and Brunswick Hotel in Winnipeg. Okay, that's Tom Jackson I'm talking about, but you get in there. Here's the next single coming off the album Dreams of Feet of Gypsy.
Gypsy, and I'd like to sing it especially for all the half-breeds and especially for Harry Daniels and my wife and beautiful friend Maria Campbell. Tomorrow brings colors that follow the rain. Now are the good times that bring love again. They're yours for the having, it's never too late. As time turns the pages and storybook fades, it's never too late for a sapphire sky. It's never too late to let your dreams fly. Beauty surrounds you, feast for your eyes. It's never too late for living. The sun shines forever, clouds last but a day, and the winter that held you is melting away. The future is blooming with each passing day, and the flash of a rainbow will show you the way. It's never too late for a sapphire sky. It's never too late to let your dreams fly. Beauty surrounds you, a feast for your eyes. It's never too late for living. It's never too late for a sapphire sky. It's never too late to let your dreams fly. Beauty surrounds you, a feast for your eyes. It's never too late for It's never too late. It's never too late. It's never too late for living. It's never too late. It's never too late. It's never too late for living. It's never too late. It's never too late. It's never too late for Okay, thank you very much, and here's the next singer, Tom Jackson.
I was in Ottawa about a year and a half ago. And there's two reasons that I'm here. Neither one of them are Harry. One of them is Gene asked me to be here. Tantu asked me to be here. And secondly, there's a beer strike in Manitoba. When I first met Harry, he was part of a theater group that we started here in the province. And he sort of went up the totem pole, so to speak, from there. The next time I saw him, he was in Ottawa, and I wasn't sure because the first time I saw him, he was wearing running shoes. The second time I saw him, he was wearing patent leather shoes, and I thought that was a little loud, so I asked him why he was wearing the shoes, and he said, well, he liked to look up the skirts of young ladies to see what color panties they were wearing. Well, I guess everything went fine until he ran into a lady who was wearing patent leather panties. All he could see was his shoes. say she was wearing patent leather panties. All he could see was his shoes. Anyway, everything went fine for a while, I guess. He enjoyed it, and one day he was a little appalled. That's what he told me. Anyway, he ran into this young lady, and he said to this young lady, "Excuse me, ma'am, are you wearing panties?" She said, "No." He says, "Good thing. I thought I had a crack in my shoe." I was born in a little town on the Manitoba Plain, and I'm in the prairie sun and a drop of the prairie rain. I'm the son of a Manitoba farmer, just trying to make a go. And I'm a flame in the crackling fire, and the prairie storm and snow. And nothing changes but the seasons. Everything, it stays the same. And I've 100 different reasons to never leave again, to never leave again. Well, I don't remember the first time I got spanked. There must have been thousands, maybe more. And my daddy said it hurt him more than it hurt me. He must have been feeling awful sore. Well, I was always waiting for the day that I'd be on my own. Came that day of my going away. My mother's tears and I were leaving home. And nothing changes but the seasons. Everything, it stays the same. And I have 100 different reasons to never leave again, to never leave again. Well, only time can move a man to see what is right and what is wrong. And only time can make a man see that he's been on that road too long. And nothing changes but the seasons. Everything stays the same. And I have 100 different reasons to never leave again, to never leave again. I'd do one more tune. I could use your help on this tune. I know you're not doing anything with your hands, right? And anybody but Harry, anyway. Clap your hands now. Love is a rose, but you better not pick it. It only grows when it's on the vine. And full of thorns, and you know you missed it. Lose your love when you say the word mine. I wanna see what's never been seen, and I wanna live that age-old dream. Come on, babe, let's go together. Let's take the best right now. Take the best right now. Love is a rose, but you better not pick it. It only grows when it's on the vine. And full of thorns, and you know you missed it. Lose your love when you say the word mine. I wanna go to an old hoedown, long ago in a western town. Pick me up 'cause my feet are dragging. Give me a lift and I'll hay your wagon. Love is a rose, but you better not pick it. It only grows when it's on the vine. And full of thorns, and you know you missed it. Lose your love when you say the word mine. Love is a rose, but you better not pick it. It only grows when it's on the vine. And full of thorns, and you know you missed it. Lose your love when you say the word mine. Lose your love when you say the word mine. Lose your love when you say the word mine. Call Shannon.